handled and what could be on the gadget. That's the rule number one. Thank you so much. Next on the program, I want to welcome. We can't be in a house where we are not welcomed. That would be a disorder. So at this point, allow me to call upon the National Coordinator for Sexual Reproductive Health Alliance, Rights Alliance, Uganda, Mr. Charles Owekmeno, to come forward and welcome us in this very important event. Thank you, Charles, for coming.
Thank you, our dear moderator, the Honorable Minister, Honorable Dr. Joyce Moriko. We are so excited and glad to have you this morning. Thank you so much for making time to join us. Your Lordship, the Bishop, thank you so much, Your Lordship, for making time to come here. The Regional Qadi, the Muslim Supreme Council, thank you so much for making time to join us. And all the religious leaders, the reverends, and also the priests who are amidst us, the sisters, and all the different religious leaders, the sheikhs that we have in the house, the pastors, and the bishop, and our civil society members, the young people in the house. We thank you so much for making time for this dialogue. And on behalf of SRHR Alliance Uganda, we would like to welcome you all. My name is Charles Owekmeno. I'm the National Coordinator of the SRHR Alliance Uganda. And this morning, this morning, since I've just been reminded that we didn't sing the national anthem and we are on a national TV. So for that reason, I would like to invite us to stand up and sing the national anthem, then we can continue.
O Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand.
Thank you very much. You can have your seat. I also would like to, in a special way, welcome our viewers, those who are watching us on UBC, and those who are watching us on Facebook and other social media. We welcome you to this dialogue. Honorable Minister, and Your Lordship, the Bishop, this is the last regional dialogue that we are having for this year. We have had it in Jinja for Eastern Region. We have had it in Barara for Western Region. And Honorable Minister, you joined us in Kampala for Central Region. And throughout all these regions, we have been passing one message. And the message is, how can we engage the different faith groups to support our young people? We have a national problem. We're having a very high number of teenage pregnancy. We're having very high number dropping out of school because they are getting married early. You have seen and heard the news and watched on the news about the rising violence against children, especially during this COVID period. And from us as SRHR Alliance in partnership with UNESCO and all these other partners, we would like to have a reflection with you as the religious leaders in terms of the key roles that you can play to protect our children. These are the future of this nation, and if we are losing most of them due to these sexual reproductive health challenges that they are facing, how can we come in as stakeholders to protect them, especially the religious leaders? The country always listens to your counsel. The country always listens to your guidance. And we feel that this time we need your special guidance and counsel for our young people. But also, we would like to see that within the different faith group and the structures that you have, that there is increased actions to guide and protect the young people. The biggest proportion of this country is actually operating under the guidance of the different faith groups. So we believe that if we have actions being taken within the different faith setting, we will be able to protect our young people from this risk that they are facing. But we also would like to have more of this conversation. Let it not stop at the regional level, but have it, within the Anglican faith group, but also within the Catholic Church, within the Muslim faith group, and all the different faith groups. Can we have more of this conversation on how we can protect our children? So this dialogue is really about that. It's about seeing more actions, seeing more leadership, seeing more guidance from the religious leaders. And so today, as we wrap up the regional dialogues, we are going to have conversation, and we want to hear from you. How can we protect our children? And very unique for this particular dialogue, we are having the cultural leaders. We have prime ministers from the different cultural groups who have joined us today. And we also would like to again reflect with them what action can we take as the different cultural institutions to protect our young people. Because the future of the kingdom, the future of this region, the future of this country are in the young people. And if we're losing a big proportion of them, then there's a big risk. Then there's a national problem that we all need to work on. So that's why we have this dialogue, and we are happy that you have joined us today. I just would like to end with a few reflections from our experience of the regional dialogues. And one of the things that has come out very clearly, and would like to request that after this dialogue we focus on it as our immediate action, is that the young people are now at home. The schools are still closed. So the parents are the ones, and we are seeing that there's an increased risk even when they're at home. So the religious leaders, please speak to the parents in your different forum that you are speaking. But also, we would like to have a situation where when the children are in the church, they are also guided. When they are in school, there is also a mechanism to guide them, and when they are at home. We believe that if this information is across all these spaces where children are growing up, is when we will be able to have them well protected. And the best protection that the children have is information. When the perpetrators are looking for your children, you will not be there. What will be there with them is what they know. So if you are a parent and you don't talk to the child, if you are the religious leaders and you don't guide the children, is where we will see what we are seeing. So we must be able to provide the right information, and that is our call to you. Otherwise, as Sexual Reproductive Health and Rights Alliance Uganda, we are honored that throughout the regions we have received really positive reception from the leaders, and we are looking forward that after all this conversation, we will be working with our partners like Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, to try to have this conversation cascaded down at the district level, and we have action to protect our children. I want to thank you very much and welcome you to this conversation, and I wish you a great deliberation today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charles Owekmeno. This time I have it. And thank you for the work you are doing. I want to believe that Now that we are welcomed officially in the House, we can do business. I can also say that I'm in an office that is now supported. I'm Reverend Canon Everett Mugarura. I'll be taking you through this dialogue, and mine is to facilitate the processes. I'll not give a speech. I want to introduce myself. I'm a public health specialist. I'm a lecturer at Uganda Christian University in the Department of Public Health. But I also run programs on youth, and that's the reason I'm here to support this initiative, working closely with Charles and Tim, and so far, so good. I will be strict with time. You'll forgive me, because time is money, but also we don't have all the time, yet we have all the business to do. So we shall stick to the time and be sure that we cover everything we have planned in time. Next on the program, we have our Bishop Paul Drilewa. Is that so? And he will have highlights, and I'm giving him a maximum of 10 minutes. Bishop, you're most welcome. 10 minutes strictly, and then after that, we shall have the Bishop, Right Reverend Collins Andaku, coming in also to give his highlights. Thank you and most welcome. I need someone to help me on this, because I can't do two jobs when I have people around. A young person.
The protocol be observed. By names, I'm called Paul Bishop. You start with Paul, then you go to Bishop. Paul Bishop Drilewa is my name. I'm the acting district health officer for Arua. Thank you for inviting me here and giving me these 10 minutes to make some brief comments about issues of ADH, adolescent sexual health, and sexual and reproductive health and rights. My case scenario is for Arua, which is apparently a reflection of what is taking place not only in this region, but other places where you've been from. What strategies are we following, or have we been directed to implement? I must appreciate my ministry, which is Ministry of Health, which apparently a few days ago we are supported by the current Honorable Minister for Primary Education. Madam, I'm grateful. The ministry has allocated resources, not only from the ministry itself, but with quite a number of partners, and indeed that has made us move where we are. Is progress being made? Yes. At what pace? That we shall leave you to discuss as an interfaith body. The ministry has continued to support recruitment, equally training for the health workers in areas of sexual and reproductive health. These recruitments have been a little slow, but efforts are also moving there, meaning that we should be having trained health workers to provide sexual and reproductive health services for these young people. We also continue to provide outreaches targeting the vulnerable people. You are aware that young people, when they come to us in the facilities, they do not have a specific health facility to address their issues. They still move to the facilities, that is if they are bold enough, but there are moments when they may not reach, and the repercussions are what we are discussing here. Arua district has a position paper directing that every health facility or sub-county provides a location where young people can go and receive services because of the fear of stigma, fear of being seen and labeled, as the case may be. But we must appreciate that some of the local governments have actually identified spaces to reach, for the young people to reach and access these services. With the help of VHTs, Honorable, and our religious leaders, we've continued to map those other young people who have unfortunately become pregnant, so that we lessen the number of deaths that result from these young or child mothers, to help them access services and save them from dying. However, these are our recommendations. We need to extensively work on networks, and I believe that's why we're here. We are at crossroads to understand how do we address the issue of adolescent we in our various current positions, we need young people to come up and replace. That's the nature. But then how will they move towards and replace us? That's a question for all of us. Where are the resources? How can we leverage these resources? Many of the individual institutions you represent have targeted resources for these young people. How do they flow? Can we synergize them and operate properly? I was fortunate enough to roll out the Safe Male Circumcision campaign. I must say I was very happy with Interreligious Council. They steam and they address these issues. Materials were developed for this interreligious body to air out to the community they serve about the advantages of safe male circumcision. Can we see this coming very prominent in this category? We need long-term commitments. The current commitments, the way we see it, are minimal, short-term. Can we look towards a more long-term commitment? Can we get out of our pulpits or the rooms in our various locations to reach these young people? I know we want them to come to our places of worship or places where we congregate. That is making them further move away. Can we reach them? The slogan here is take services closer to the people. We can take evangelism, because that's where I come from, evangelism and the rest to them, so that they can come. When you are coming back, I trust you will come back with them. They will come closer to us. Can we continue to advocate for these young people? We in the health facilities, we are facing these challenges with these young people. They want us. We do not have all the entire space for them. But we have the messages we pass. This is being a behavior component. All of us need to contribute to have this behavior impacted in them so that we can be able to reach many of them. Public engagement, I like this. This is a way we can reach them. Also, the various partnerships that we need to. In Arua, the COVID created a huge challenge for us, with teenage pregnancy rates hitting as high as 24% for the age group attending antenatal below 19 years. as I will repeat here, this is for the bold ones who have managed to be convinced and come. But there are others who may not have the zeal and the energy to fight the stigma that is against them from the community. So, ladies and gentlemen, I pray that you will have a very good and fruitful deliberation that will give us good guidance. We are going to address these issues of continued service provision for young people in that age bracket. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paul Bishop. I got it right. Paul Bishop, you are most welcome. Thank you. Allow me to welcome our Bishop, Right Reverend Collins Andaku. For some of you who may not know him, he's the Bishop of Mali and West Nile Diocese. Bishop, you are most welcome. Sanitize and tell us what you have for us in regard to the young people. And you are most welcome. We value your time.
Our chief guest, the Honorable Joyce Moriko, the Minister of State for Primary Education, the National Coordinator, SRHR Alliance, Uganda, and your team, the UNESCO officials present here, our cultural leaders, heads of interfaith groups present here in your various capacities, the District Health Officer, RUA, the organizers of this interfaith dialogue, my brothers, the participants, good morning to you all. May the peace of the God, the Lord, be with you. I want to thank the Almighty God for His love and mercy and for protection and for His goodness, more so for this dialogue, for this opportunity, for this dialogue of the interfaith about the subject matter ahead of us. I also want to thank the National Director of SRHR Alliance for your invitation of the participants here present, particularly the cultural, the religious leaders, and the government officials present. I, in particular, am humbled for giving us this opportunity with the clergy I serve with in the diocese. We thank you for this gesture. I also want to thank the organizers for this adventure. I call it adventure you have braved at a most difficult time when we don't gather a lot in this manner, but because you have heart for the adolescents, youth, you have called us, we are here. We pray that the Lord will have grace and mercy, that we will be safe, and these discussions will yield fruits which will energize us to go out and to help the adolescent youth. I also want to thank the government of Uganda for allowing such scientific gatherings so that we don't miss it all. I want to thank you participants for coming. I know this is a time for us to gather together and to discuss on this subject matter so that we can excel our experiences, our testimonies, so that we can help one another to help our youth who are totally morally degenerated. And therefore, at this time, you give your opinion. Otherwise, allow me present the little I had prepared here. Aware that young people in adolescent stage are very vulnerable, sexually reproductive, and their health choices they make as they transit from childhood to adulthood matters a lot and also determines their well-being now and tomorrow. As far as the religious leaders are concerned, we have a big role in shaping this youth in the right direction. We cannot do it alone. We have to combine efforts. That's why we are here, a group from the various sectors. It should be noted right here that religious leaders as a team can greatly contribute to the promotion of ASRHR by enhancing information and even sharing dialogue such as we're having today, therefore enhancing awareness about ASRHR and consequently giving confidence to address the matter with adolescents in a holistic manner. Our guest of honor, allow me to say a few facts about the adolescent youth in the region where I serve. The diocese I serve encompasses 10 districts. We volunteer to go and serve the people, and the fact on ground, I want to bring a few. But before I do that, before COVID-19 came in, as interreligious faith organization in this region, we've been helping the adolescent youth, particularly in school ministry, through chaplains work, through youth camps, through conferences, through fellowships, even in the church services on pulpit. We package messages across to mentor and help the adolescent youth in our subject matter at hand, even through crusades, prayer retreats, counselings, career guidance, cell groups, home and zones and home visits, mission and evangelism. The above activities in churches and in outside places, in places designed to handle this, have been effectively handled. But right now, as we are under lockdown by this COVID-19 pandemic, the above activities have been halted. But the church has not been halted. We continue to give this moral education. We continue to give message of hope. We continue to pass the information which can bring out this youth and the adolescents out of danger through the means God has availed to us. One, formation of small cell groups through which fellowships, Bible study and counselings have been done. I know mostly on online. Two, we have been involving the youth in community Bible study, and where at least a week, I know pastors here within this region have to attest that we still reach out to the youth through the Bible study, encouraging them in the different platforms. We also, the religious leaders in this diocese and also in this district and in this West Nile region, we have youth at heart. We still continue to pursue these activities on social media, like the YouTube, the Zoom, the Facebook, of course the radio stations we have, although we don't have a bigger TV as you may have in other parts, but the online streaming, this is where the religious leaders in this region try to make an attempt to help the youth. I know this cannot be effectively done because some of the areas are hard to reach in terms of some of we have been encouraging youth against sexual, of course, immorality or early sex and not sex before marriage. And this, we have not left it. We continue to do it. And some selected youth leaders, we have gathered them like this to talk to them, few in number, that they can go and impart on the other youth. We have also been giving support to the needy, particularly those who are affected. For my case, in the diocese I serve, I know some of the youth who have got, girls who have got pregnant and have conceived. We've come out to help them in terms of providing the basic needs to this. We have testimonies for that. and then giving them hope. I know this is a long way to go. We have been sharing and giving encouragement and advices, as I say, mainly through the media. But that is not enough. I want to bring to this forum here that the challenges the COVID-19 has brought about, we know that we cannot mention it all. But we have some health challenges which I want to mention briefly. One, early pregnancies and childbirth in this region is alarming, as it is also the case in other regions of Uganda. We don't know when, Minister, if the schools are open, I don't know how many girls will go back to school. The HIV/AIDS, of course, is still on rampage. People fear to come to the health centers to access services on fear that they will get COVID. And sometimes, of course, stigmatized. Other infectious diseases are there. Of course, they sometimes also fear to come up and open up because suicides, even the young married couples. We have alcohol and drug abuse, which is on high because the youth are idle. They don't do anything, and this is a very serious challenge within this region. And as a church, we really need to come up and face it squarely, together with the government and the NGO bodies. There are unintentional injuries which people encounter, particularly the adolescent youth, being adventurous. Malnutrition and obesity, among others, is also a challenge to the youth. Sometimes they feel they are not in the right place. Then violence, the leading cause of most of the death in this region, is also there. We have
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175 *94 hash to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175